So this funny thing happens when you have a family where you first get pregnant as a couple and everyone's really excited because you're having a child, and then everyone's excited because you're having a second child, and then at some point when you announce that you're pregnant, it goes, not hopefully maybe for your family, but for just general people around you, it goes from this feeling of excitement to this feeling of like, these two people lost their minds. And I'm not sure when that transition happens, but at some point you go from being a family to being a big family.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's get into that.
Let's do it.
Hi, I'm Andrea Warnock.
I'm Nathan Warnock.
And you're joining us for Family Friday on the Marriage by Design podcast. And this is a time where we get to talk about God's design for family, what the Bible says about it, and then how we practically live that out. And this week we're talking about big families. So,
that's right.
Like we said in the open, there's a tipping point of being a family to becoming a big family. And it seems like for a lot of people that tipping point is 4 or more children. So we've tipped into that.
We have?
And it is funny
dove into it.
We did. It is funny because when I was pregnant with number 4, it seems like that is the time where we got the most interesting reactions to people finding out that we were pregnant, and it was kind of like, you guys are a little bit nuts. So, and if people find out that we're potentially not done, then it's like, what? I mean,
right.
The reactions to that are pretty funny too. So
that's right.
So we've tipped into that, and we wanted to have an episode about big families and maybe the burning questions that people have, as well as some tips and suggestions and ideas for people of big families that really can be for people with big families, but also people without, with just kids in general.
Sure.
So, maybe talking about some of the misconceptions and how it's all balanced, but really there's no balance. Anyway.
That's right. And so for this episode, Andrea reached out to a close friend of hers to see if she would come on and speak with us a little bit about her family. So I'm going to step out here in a minute, and it's going to be Andrea and her friend that are going to talk a little bit. So why don't you intro that, babe?
Yeah, so I got together with my friend Sarah, and she has 6 kids, and you'll find out more about her as we talk here in a little bit. And she just has a lot of wisdom and a lot of experience. So I thought it'd be great to have her in. And then when we wrap that up, Nathan and I will come back real quick to talk about a couple other things.
So without further ado, Andrea and Sarah, let's get into that.
Hey, so I'm here with my friend Sarah, and we're going to talk about big families for a while. So Sarah, you have 6 kids.
I do.
Right? And so I thought she would be a great resource to talk about big families and kind of the way they operate as a big family, and tips and tricks and some thoughts and stuff along the way. So
sounds good.
She's passionate about what she does. And so Sarah stays home with her kids, and they do the homeschooling thing like we do. So we do the collaborative school, and they're at the same collaborative school. So a lot of similarities, except they have more kids. And more experience with it. So I'm sorry that tree's by anyway.
That's okay.
So tell me first just a little bit about yourself and your family and
Sure. Well, I am Sarah, and I'm married to Joshua, and we have 6 kids, and they are 9, 8, 6, almost 5, like in a month.
Ooh.
And then 3, just about 3, and then we have a 1-year-old. We have a couple of birthdays that are like boom, boom. So when I say really? One is like already making the turn, it's like, well, then that one does too.
Yes. Right. Yeah, you're probably celebrating birthdays
all the time, I feel like. But then they're all in like one part of the year.
Oh, really?
Like,
so you have a big
we
gap.
kind of spread out, and then huge gap in the summer, like fall. Like end of summer into fall.
That's funny how that works out.
Yes. A couple of doubled up in 1 month.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, did this have to happen this way?
That's funny. Cool. Okay, so, and you and Josh have been married how long?
11 years this March.
And then your oldest is 9, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so you've been doing this kid thing
Like,
for a while.
Basically pregnant or nursing or like just about to have another baby.
Oh my god.
The whole marriage.
For like 9 or 10 years.
Yes.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. I had even miscarried before Jack, so had a little bit of time there where it was like literally back to just like pregnant nursing the whole bit for quite a while.
Yeah.
We just stopped nursing like in the fall time. So here we go.
Oh, and now you get your body to yourself for a little while.
I'm free.
I've joked that I have not had my body to my own self for like 6 years because it's been either pregnant or nursing and then pregnant again. And it's been very little time to myself.
Someone said once, like, don't you know that doctors recommend like a full like year to like 3 years? And I was like, what?
Yeah.
I mean,
it's worked out well.
We have one set of kids that are 14 months apart. We don't believe in that.
That's a quick turnaround.
Quite a quick turnaround.
So,
I believe they call that Irish twins.
Yes.
Is that right?
Right.
I don't know these things like that.
Yeah, when you have them very quickly. I was talking to my midwife sometime within the last year, and she said that usually you do like a 2-week postpartum and a 6-week, and she said at the 6th week the person was already pregnant. She came in for like the 6-week birth control talk, and the midwife had to say, "Oh well you're already pregnant." So that would be super fast. Yeah, that's a quick turnaround.
It's so awesome.
Yeah.
So
awesome. Did you always know that you were going to have a big family?
Gosh, no.
Did you plan to have a big family?
No.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, when number 6 came along, it wasn't like a huge shock, but it was surprising. Not like, oh my gosh. It was just, okay, here we go again. And I go to that appointment, and my doctor, I was a little emotional about it for some reason. I don't know, maybe knowing it would be the last one, potentially, or whatever it might be. But she said, Sarah, I had a couple of patients that knew they were going to have 6 kids. And for some reason, I feel like you didn't really know this information, that you just kind of found yourself in this situation. And I said,
yes,
exactly.
I did find myself here.
I did find myself here. What are we going to do about this?
What, did you ever have a thought of like, oh, I'll have 2 kids? Or was that ever anything that you really thought much about?
Well, Josh always says, like, we set out to have 3 or 4. That's how he, segues into when we actually have 6. And I'm like, well, I kind of always thought 4. I mean, that was kind of the number in my mind. And then we had number 4. Well, we had number 3, and this story is amazing. And Josh, shakes his head still to this day. I literally had just given birth to Teddy, my 3rd baby, and I'm holding this newborn, and Josh goes over and he's like, "Isn't he perfect?" And I look up at Josh, and I have this little baby on me, and I said, "I don't think our family's done yet."
Oh,
and he was like,
"You are literally holding
you're holding a brand new baby," and I was like, "Yeah."
You just felt it.
I just knew. And so then comes Maggie, and that's number 4. And then I was telling you earlier, I had this revelation that, children are just a total gift from the Lord. And it was like, who am I to say, I'm done? And that was kind of the revelation that I had, that, here we are, these, vessels to bring more life to this earth. And it just, was so profound to my mind that I couldn't, say no. I just had this, deep desire, I think there's number 5. That's Josh was like,
there is?
There is.
That's a lot how we feel, because, I don't know, there's this, it's almost like, what is it, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde sort of thing, where it's like, having this many kids is bananas. It really is. It's not like this totally cute Norman Rockwell painting.
Yeah.
It's rarely that. Having lots of
kids.
It's
like a Picasso painting. It's pretty crazy.
Yes,
and you have to go like this a few times and
to really get the idea of what's going on.
Yes.
It's bananas a lot of times, and
Absolutely.
it's messy, Sarah came over to my house, and I'm like, well, it's like this. It's pretty much, if the kids are awake, it's like this. You know, and it's messy, and it's not like people who have kids have just, it's not like they're born with a ton more patience than other people.
No,
I mean, you grow in that a lot, but we still struggle with that.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, it's craziness, but yet it's also, so there's that one side, but it's also like, but these babies are such blessings, and they're amazing, and it's such a gift to be a parent, and a gift from the Lord anytime you have a baby. And so there's like, well, do I want to really like flip that off? I don't know. So yeah, I get it.
Well, and I think about like parenting kind of as a whole, and I know we're going to talk more, but just like the experience, I come across like a challenge, and then I'll think, okay, I'm going to find a book, I'm going to get a resource for this. And then I find like the best parenting book, and then I open the first page, and it's like, if you thought this was a book about how to make your child like do what you want them to do, you have not picked up the right book. This is a book about you. And how is your heart? And I was like, oh my gosh.
Yes.
It is about my refinement, like me becoming more, you know.
Which marriage can do that too.
Oh.
So marriage 100%. Is so much, if you're approaching it this way, it's so much about me being refined, and allowing God to use my marriage to really help mold me into who He wants me to be. And every child that comes along is that too. I met somebody probably, it was almost 4 years ago, when I was pregnant with Riker, and she had 6 kids, and I met her just, I don't know, it was kind of a random meeting, and we started talking a little bit, and she said, well, God must have known that I needed a lot of work, because when I got married, well, I needed a lot of work to become, to become even close to the wife that He called me to be. And then every child refines me. So God must have known I needed a lot of refinement, because I got a husband and I got 6 kids. And I was like, well, that's a great way to work at it.
That is exactly it. It really is.
Yeah.
It is a beautiful refinement. And the same thing is true for our schooling experience in TCA. Like, we go to co-teacher training, and I'm like, great, I'm going to learn how to do math, I'm going to learn how to do grammar. Okay, this will be great. And then I sit down, and it's like, how's your heart? And
it's all about character.
What? This isn't...
Give me some practical tips, though, please. What did I do?
My heart clearly is needing refinement.
Always. It's like, for me, a daily... I don't know, kids are like a daily smack in the face of my own need for a savior.
I called Josh after like those co-teacher trainings, and I'm like, hey, I think I just left a women's conference and not a schooling conference, but we'll talk about it later.
Yes. When I can get myself together again.
Yeah, I just need to refine my heart.
What would you say are the best parts of having a big family?
So I actually had Josh read the questions too, because I wanted to hear what he would say too, and then kind of, make a beautiful combination of an answer. But he was hilarious. He's like, it's loud, chaotic, and fun. It's amazing, and it's crazy, but it's loud.
Oh yeah, I just recently started referring to my kids as party people. Like, when I come in a room, I'll be like, hey, party people, it's time to whatever. And one of my kids asked me, why do you do that? I said, because it sounds like party in here all the time. It's loud and crazy.
All the time.
Yeah.
And most of the time, there is a party, and there is like literal dancing party.
Yes.
And then I look over, and Libby, our 2-year-old, is the DJ. And I'm like, this makes total sense, the whole thing. And Jack's like, now everybody don't bump into this and that, and don't break this.
Somebody's going to get hurt along the way.
Oh gosh, it's so funny. You can see them all in their roles. It's hilarious. But yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it's crazy. Loud, chaotic.
But you love it.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't have it any other way. I really wouldn't.
There's so much life with kids, and then you just add more of them, and it's like lots more life.
It's just like you said, these are my party people.
Right, they are. It's a party every day, whether I wanted to be invited to it or not.
And it starts at 7 a.m. At our house, it's a little later than most, but
7.
They're about, our first gets up at 7, and it's like a rolling.
That's about when we're
wake up.
Yeah, that's about where
we're
at too.
Non-TCA days, it's like, okay, Ella, it's 9:30.
Time to get out of bed.
Chop, chop.
That's nice that you have some good sleep in, though.
I know, it's kind of funny, and then it gives you a glimpse of, like, having teenagers.
You know? Yeah. The trick with kids is, like, when they're young, you're just dying for them to sleep and get in bed, and, like, why do you not sleep in? Or why don't you go to bed at night? All that. And then when they're teenagers, you're, like, dragging them out of bed all the time because the hormones have kicked in, and they just want to sleep all the time.
Yes, exactly.
What do you feel like is one or two challenges, the biggest challenges of having a big family? Sorry, maybe that wasn't
it's good.
a prepared question.
Challenges. I would say just knowing that, like you asked one of the questions, or when we talked earlier, it was like, how do you spend time with each kid, or what do you do? And those are always the things. It's like, okay, did I have a meaningful connection with them today or whatnot? But the thing that our schooling provides is really, yes, I did.
That's a great, that's a great advantage of homeschooling.
Yes.
Because you have to have that one-on-one connection.
You do. And you really get it, whether you wanted it or not.
Yes. Maybe not the mode you wanted.
But I say that tongue-in-cheek because honestly, I think I do. Like, I'll lay down and it's like, okay, did I connect with each kid? And so it's more of a challenge in that, okay, did I overextend myself today doing other things and miss the mark on some of these things? I think just knowing, okay, did I do the best I could do today?
Sure.
You know, just because it's crazy. I mean, I literally had a sitter come in over Christmas break on Fridays just to help me for a few hours, like juggle the crazy.
Nice, yeah.
So she walks in and I am holding a baby that needs a diaper, so I'm kind of like holding her out here because it's like sad, and I don't want to like, you know, hold her in the wrong place. So then I've got that. I'm like, Ella, make a bottle, and then Libby's like standing at me like, hold me, and I was just like, oh my gosh. And then Teddy's going, I am learning AAA today, and I need to get my board and my white marker. Mom, how do you add 2 + 2? And Jack's like, Mom, I think we need more Cheetos or whatever it is. And I'm like,
I'm only one person.
Yeah. And I realized in that moment I have all these things happening, but then I also have just like my person too.
Yes.
Happening.
Yes.
In my own mind.
And your own needs
too.
Yeah.
And so I'm in my head like, I just need a coffee. I just want to take a shower. You know, just the things like that.
Totally.
And she walked in and I go, okay, you're going to be the teacher today. And it's really easy, and I'm going to just tell you a couple things to do, and you're going to sit with Teddy, and I just need you to take care of it, you know. Yes. And so to have her come in and kind of swoosh in and swoop in and do that was awesome. And then I could be the little mom, you know. But I was just, the point I wanted to make is the challenges of I'm one person.
Yes.
I don't have 8 arms.
I think that's what I'm struck with a lot lately is that, like, the needs are so great.
Yeah.
And they're constant. And I'm only one person. So that means that you also have to, like, teach more independence with more kids. You know, you're teaching independence maybe earlier than a 2-person or 2-kid family might. I don't know.
But it's good for them. That kids are really capable of doing so much more than we think they are. Yeah. You know?
And there's also a balance. I don't want my kids like raising.
Yes.
You know, I don't want my kids raising their siblings. So, or feeling like they're doing everything or whatever. So there's a balance, but there has to be some independence because there's only one parent at home a lot of times.
Yes.
And the needs are endless.
Like you said. Well, and I think it's great. You say they're your party people, and it just came to me. I always say to my kids, like, we are a team. We are a weird team. We are all working towards the same goal.
Yes.
You will all get an ice cream bar. Like, we don't need to fight over this situation.
Yes.
Like, we're on the same team. And so I'm always assuming the coach position of, like,
that's great.
We're on the same team. We're on the same team. We're on the same team. And get that mentality, like, if you do something, it's going to affect the whole team in a good or bad way.
Right.
But if you get water for everyone for dinner, like, you just hydrated our whole family.
I know. And it's amazing. Thank you so much. Yes.
So, like, these little victories, I'm always like, we're a team. take one for the
That's
team,
great.
or you do something better.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's sewing into like their relationships in the future too.
Yeah.
You know, for them to think.
Yes, like at school or wherever.
Yeah,
absolutely.
These are my people and are important.
Yes.
We talk about at our house. I kind of jokingly say, but I'm sort of serious. I'm pretty serious about it too. I mean, whatever. But you know, Jackson will talk about, oh, my best friend. Who is his best friend? And I'm like, dude, you don't have any best friends except the people sitting around this table. Your siblings are your best friend, and they'll always be your best friend. And I'm kind of joking when I'm saying it to them, of course, but I really want them to think these are my people, and these are the people that are the most important in my life. Yes. And there's no one that comes above that. You know, you're on Earth. It's huge. And so what you were saying, like, we're a team, and this is the team matters. And I love that what you said. Just if you're doing it for everyone, you're helping the whole team.
Yeah, I had the thought the other day when there was like we asked them to accomplish some task, and it wasn't getting accomplished, and I was like, well, you're holding up the rest of the body now, the team, from getting this prize for doing all this work because you haven't completed your job. And then it was like, okay, that's done.
The light switch flipped.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
What do you feel like is the biggest misconception of big families?
This one, Josh goes, conception?
No, not conception. We know all about that.
I had to laugh. I go, oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. No, I think the misconception is that, I don't know. I think about it, and sometimes you just encounter like weirdness in the world about it. Sure. You know, like I always think when you said what are challenges, honestly, the first thing that popped in my mind was vacations.
Oh my gosh.
Because everything is set up.
Yes.
For 4,
maybe 5.
Maybe 5
if you're lucky.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, we have to get 2 hotel rooms.
Yes.
We have to get a 15-passenger van.
Yes.
I mean, those are like so first world problems, but it's like, oh my goodness, those are things I did not think about when we embarked on this journey that we embarked on. But it's like, I wouldn't trade it for anything though. So I think the misconception though is that it's hard when it is, but it's good. It's like what we were talking about. Like, this is my tribe. These are my people. Right. And it's worth it. Yeah. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it's hard. For me, some days I feel like this is hard and like I don't want to do this anymore, you know, but there's always but praise the Lord, there's always a new day. Like there's always an end to that day and a beginning to the next day, and that's sometimes my saving grace. But it's hard, but there's purpose behind it.
Yeah. Well, and I always said, and this was just a personal conviction, like I'm not going to have children that I'm not going to raise. Like that. So if I'm going to continuously add a child into this family, like I need to take on that responsibility, obviously. But it's like so ingrained in me that sometimes that's just not what the world is like, you know, if that makes sense. Yeah. I hope it does, because my heart is that, like, obviously that was my conviction, right? That I really wanted to be home and raise my kids. Yeah. So I think the misconception is, you know, that you maybe can't do it. I mean, and there are days where Ella really does help. But I'm like, you really can do this. Totally. You know, you really can have a family. And Josh and I are talking about, like, there's that word, like, balance. I want everything. I want to, like, have this work-life balance. Yes, and I'm like, not balance. Yeah, I actually was telling a friend, like, I really don't believe in that whole campaign or whatever it is, because it's more of an ebb and flow. And, like, nothing is going to ever get the best of me in every category. Yeah. Like, it's one day it might be my bigs get the best of me in school. Yep. And then the next day they're in school, so then my littles get the best of me. It's so true. Yes. Like, hopefully it balances over time. I don't know. Yeah. But and then the prayer we pray a lot is, Lord, just fill the voids, because there's going to be a lot of cracks and a lot of voids. But I think there is, I would say, a misconception, maybe not about having a big family per se, but about even just parenting, that like we're not made to do it, or we need more help than we do, and it's like God will guide you.
Yeah.
Every day is a
he'll
new day.
Yeah, he'll equip you. Yeah.
And
yeah,
I feel
totally
sad for people that, like maybe haven't had that revelation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a big misconception for big families is kind of what I was saying earlier. Like, people who have lots of kids, or women who stay home and to do the stay-at-home mom thing, or people who homeschool or whatever. Like, oh man, they just are really great at being moms, and they just have it in them, and they have so much patience and so much love. And I'm telling you, we don't have more. Some people do.
Yeah.
But I would say the majority are just convicted to,
yes.
They have a conviction from
Absolutely.
the Lord to do it, and we need a lot of help from God to do it and do it well. And lots of praying for God to fill in the gaps where we fail.
Yes. I mean, I think it's a great tension in the world today.
Mm-hmm.
Just being torn between these things in our lives that, I mean, obviously important things, family, work. I mean, all these things are important, but it is such a tension in finding our identity and our worth and like who we are. It's just one of those things that it's a great tension, even in my life and with Josh, and we talk about it quite a bit.
Yeah.
So I think you can do it. You can
absolutely
have a big family and have an ebb and flow that really is beautiful.
Right.
Because I think it's going to be ugly at times, but it's also going to be beautiful.
Yeah. And you can learn a lot in the ugliness. Not just you, but your kids.
Yes.
And there's a lot of forgiveness that's learned, and grace,
and refinement, like we talked
about. Yep, for sure.
Every day.
Yep. Okay, so tell me some ways that you keep your sanity.
Oh gosh, Josh goes, did you claim that you were sane?
You at least seem to come off as sane.
Mostly.
Yes,
mostly
you
sane.
are.
I'm mostly sane. But no, I think Josh knows when he can see when mom needs like a break, and he's really, really good about letting me just get a break. And obviously these are weird times we're living in, so there's not as much to like go do.
Yes.
But honestly, just like quiet time or just being able to go for, a little bit, especially being a stay-at-home parent, like the day is long.
It is.
And the years are short, right?
Yes.
But I sometimes just need like a moment, and so I'll
to get away from
just to get away, or I need a coffee. Sometimes that's like my treat. Like I just need a coffee.
Oh yeah.
Love a coffee.
Do you have the Nespresso machine?
I do.
Yeah. Nathan, I'm not a coffee person, but Nathan just like was dying for one for Christmas.
Yes.
And I got him one, and he's like, "Oh, this is the best thing ever."
It's amazing.
Yeah. So maybe having an espresso by yourself.
An espresso by myself would be amazing. I have this chair in the corner of our living room by the fireplace. It's kind of my perch. And the kids kind of know, like, Mom's on her perch.
She needs her own time when she's there.
Give her a minute when she's in her chair. But, I mean, honestly, I think it's finding the things that refresh you. And sometimes it's leaving the house.
Yes. Even if to, like, go to the grocery store by yourself.
Yes. Even though I got so reliant upon, like, deliveries and things. I mean, COVID was nuts because Josh is like, they deliver this?
Yes, they do.
Yes.
And it's amazing.
They do.
Yeah.
But, just finding those little pockets to just get out.
I agree.
And I have a regular accountability group I meet with weekly. And that's a great place for me to just, like, that is my time. And I kind of moved mountains to get it. My mom used to be my childcare, then she had some health problems, but my preschool does a kids' day out during that time.
Oh, cool.
And they're so sweet, and they have had Jack there since he was 18 months, and we're now about to bring in our 6th child to this facility. And so they're like, you can come whenever you want. Just come whenever you want. So they're really sweet. And they said, we'll take Maggie and Libby, and you can go to your Bible study. And
that's great.
It's so wonderful. And so I have that like carved out every week, and that's my
good for you.
My time.
Good
so
for you.
if I didn't have that, it'd be really hard, especially in these times.
Yeah, when everything is canceled and
Yes.
Yeah. And it's craziness.
It's wild.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's been hard not to plug into church with 6 kids, so that's a challenge. I would go back to that. Sorry.
No, that's great.
That's a challenge. Like especially with COVID, like it's really hard for a family of 6, especially 6 littles, to like go into a church service and sit there.
Oh, that sounds insane.
Point blank challenge.
No.
Sadly, we have just not made it a lot this year, but
yeah,
I mean, obviously with reason, but
sure. Yeah, that would not work for us.
Oh gosh, so we've really had to utilize the online church thing because it's like, oh my gosh, we need church because that's a huge part of our lives. But then, how do we go to? I need a lot of busy bags. I need crayons. I need, it's just like.
Whoa, yeah.
I need snacks up the wazoo just for one church service.
I know. We've done like maybe 2 church services ever with all the kids with us. It is nuts.
Oh yes.
Yeah, we have childcare still going on at our church.
Yes.
So it's not a problem at ours, but that's tough.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that part has been that
Mm-hmm.
part was hard because we did dedicate Winnie in December, and it was like we missed this. This community. So any way you can get it in these circumstances is like water to the soul.
Yep. How do you prioritize your relationship with Josh? With having
date nights.
So many kids, date nights. Do you have like dedicated date nights like weekly or monthly?
No, that doesn't work for us because it's just like
the schedule's always
changing
all over.
Yeah, and something might pop up one night, but then the next week it's open, and so it's just like no. But I am very conscious of when we don't get that time. You just feel it. It's like, okay, we haven't connected, and we need to talk through these things or whatever it may be. And sometimes we like to go out with another couple and just like, oh my gosh, this was the week we had, or just lament some of those things in life.
It's like good for the soul to be able to do that.
And especially when we have a friend where, like, we have some friends where they've got some older kids and then a couple overlap with our kids, and it's like, okay, so what's coming next?
Oh yeah, you get to see like what's coming on the horizon.
Yes. What's the issue? Oh, the phones.
Yes, that's awesome.
That's coming. Okay, so you can kind of like prepare yourself, and then we do like to just hang out alone, and sometimes we just like to be together and watch a show. But honestly, every night we kind of have to have a connection point.
Good, sure.
And then we really try to go out. I'd say as often as we can. I'd say sometimes it's like 2 or 3 times a month, maybe 4.
Good for
and
you.
Then other months it might be like 1 or 2.
Right.
And honestly, when we get into a groove with a sitter, I'm like, let's get them booked.
You have them at your house, they're about to leave. Yes. You're like, well, pull out your phone. Let's decide when this next date is going to be. That's so great to prioritize that.
Yeah. If you get it on the calendar, I feel like it's, and then when you have the confidence of a sitter, you're like, this is great. You've got 6 kids. Yep. Goodbye. I mean,
yes. That's great.
So it's fine.
Yeah, we don't get out that often, but we do a date night, like an inside date night once a week. So once our kids go to bed, we just do something that's not sitting in front of the TV and turning our minds off, but we do something that's we'll do occasionally we'll watch a show, but we'll do a game together or have some deep conversation about something, whatever. And it's so good to have just that, because otherwise you can just fill the time, and we put it on our calendar. It's on our calendar every week to do that, because otherwise you just fill the time with stuff. I don't know. Just life stuff.
Well, and I find that after the day, I want to decompress. Like, I'm the person that kind of needs the quiet to like re-energize for the next day. Yep. But it's not happening through sleep. Like, it needs to be literal alert time.
I need that too.
I'm awake.
But
I am.
Is it like alone time that you need? Yeah, I'm the same way.
So sometimes I get friends that are so funny. They're like, Sarah, you texted me at midnight last night. I was like, yep, I was catching up on life.
Yes. So we frequently stay up way too late, like 1, maybe 2 o'clock in the morning.
Oh yeah,
because it's like it's so I know glorious. This is guaranteed time that my kids are not going to be awake. Yes. Because if I were to wake up in the morning at like 5:30 or 6, there's no guarantee that it's going to be kid free time because you always. I don't know. So frequently,
some kid wants his Lego at 6 a.m. and you're like, I just woke up.
I know. So frequently, you have like kids who are like waking up when they shouldn't have, but they don't usually get up at night when they shouldn't be. It's not very often that they're. Very rare. Yeah. So we stay up way too late at night because it's like, this is so nice to have seemingly unending time, to ourselves. But yeah, I know.
Oh yeah.
It's hard to turn that off, but it is a great time to.
I always feel
recharge.
Like when Dad starts the coffee going, then guaranteed it's like
yes
domino effect.
I know, it's crazy. Okay, so do you have any tips, hacks, systems that you feel like are super great for a big family?
I mean, the number one blanket statement would be systems. Like, we can't function without a tiny bit of organization. Now, I'm not going to lie, it's not always organized.
Yeah.
And my house is not clean, ever.
Oh my gosh.
I've given up on that.
Yes.
But I would say, approaching things with a system. And I don't know that there's a right or a wrong in that world.
Sure.
But finding ways okay, this space we have lockers, so it's like, okay, your stuff is in here, and we have this is the operation. So when I say go pick up the drop zone, everyone, boom, go get this organized in your locker.
Yep.
Then that's where all your stuff is. That's where just things like that. I mean, we're always looking for Lego hacks. So
she was just looking at our Lego table
because it's amazing.
We so I don't know if we post anything about this on the channel, but we for Christmas we made our kids this huge Lego table. I think it's 70 inches long and 30 inches wide.
It's so great.
And you see it right when you come up the stairs, and it has been so great. It's big enough for all the kids to have their own zones, and once we get the bins to go in it, Legos won't be everywhere. But
I just think systems and routine. I think routine is so important for kids because then they know what's coming next.
Right.
Even adults like that. Where are we going? What are we doing? What's happening? We want answers to questions, and it's natural that kids would. And it's so funny because sometimes Jack is me in my family, and so Josh always says, I had this moment where I told Josh to go to the Walmart in Columbus, but he pulled off at the Walmart in Fremont, and I was like,
Columbus.
What are you doing? And it just threw my.
Yeah.
I know that sounds crazy. It just threw my day.
Really?
Because I was very methodical. I had a whole okay,
we're gonna do this, and then this is gonna happen.
And on the drive, I'm gonna make my list, and then when I go into Walmart, I'll know exactly what I need because there's only Walmarts, along the drive. So I'm like, okay, we need this when we get to Columbus. So pull off. Well, he goes to the Fremont one, and it just. He calls it it rewires me or short circuits me, and I'm like, what are we doing here?
It's hard for you to get back on track.
Yes. And so I go in and I come out to the car after going to the Fremont Walmart, and he's like, what in the world? Did I just short circuit you? And I was like,
yes, you did. I don't even know what I'm doing right now.
And he's like, I don't even understand it. And I'm like, well, it all has to do with gal strengths, but that's just another story. But Jack is like that. He can get short wired real quick.
Yeah.
If he doesn't know what's happening, what's coming, what's
going on. He gets a curveball. He just doesn't even know how to cope.
He's like, well, I thought you said, and it's very frustrating to me because sometimes the schedule has to be fluid a little bit. So if something big changes, I try to warn him, hey, buddy, I don't know that that's going to happen. But if I don't get that in before the big change, it kind of, short circuits him. So as much as I think we try to avoid being locked down, I still think routine is good. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Like, every day you're going to do X, Y, and Z in the morning.
Right.
Every night you're going to do X, Y, and Z to go to bed. You know, just those triggers that get you, like, in the mindset of, okay, this is my bedtime routine.
Right.
And now I'm going to go to sleep.
Yeah, we don't, I mean, our days aren't always the same, of course, but we have routines. And so our kids generally know what their day is going to look like.
Yeah.
They generally know what to expect.
Well, yes. And
which
with
is
our
a great thing for them.
School situation, it's nice.
Yes.
To have some flexibility if it's needed.
Right. Yes.
Because sometimes it's like, okay, we need a minute. You know, we need to just like go do something different or change it up.
It is amazing how kids thrive on routine. Yes. They thrive on knowing what's expected and
totally.
Yeah, it's great.
So I would say like that's just my big hack. It's like
systems.
Have a plan. That makes Josh laugh because he's number one adaptability and I'm deliberative. So I have contingency plans from like A to Z.
Oh man.
Like boom, boom, boom. I mean, but for everything in life. And so I'm very complicated. It's all up in here. It's all up in here. And so Josh was like, it'll just be great. We'll just go to the floor. We'll go to the Fremont Walmart. And I'm like,
no.
I made a plan.
Right.
That was like contingency Z.
Oh
I did not need to pull off right here.
That's so funny. Okay, so you do this homeschooling thing.
Yes.
How has that journey been with several school agers?
Oh my.
Yeah. It's a lot.
It's a lot. I mean, you're living it right now too.
Well, no, I'm not. I just have one school ager.
Well, that's true. But you still have a lot of littles.
I have a lot of littles.
You have the same littles as me.
Yeah, I have a lot of littles, but I just have the one school ager. So, and you've got
that's
three school agers,
3
right?
and 3 right now.
Yes. So, how's that journey been with trying to do the homeschooling thing with 3 of them?
Yes.
But also, you have 3 littles.
I know.
And the littles make the homeschooling journey very difficult.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was telling someone the other day that I feel like I think it was Josh. I was like, I'm not able to enjoy the good parts of like staying home. And then I'm not able, or with littles, when I say staying home, I mean like with little people, babies and whatnot. But then I think about the side of it from like the big kid perspective. I'm like, man, I don't really get to enjoy the homeschooling side of it some days. Like,
because it's always like, at least for us, it's always like, I'm homeschooling, but there's like, over here on the side, like something always going on the side. So it's hard to really enjoy the homeschooling because you're sort of not wanting, this is me at least, sort of not wanting to rush, of course, but sort of rushing because
check out. Okay, we read the Bible card. We're moving on.
Yes, because like I don't know. It would be so fun to be able to just take the time that it takes and be able to really just whatever. But there's always something on the side,
So you know Seinfeld, right?
Yes.
You know Newman.
Yes.
That is living in our house.
Oh.
We're like, there's a trail of something, and we're like, all the time. And so when you're like, there's just always something, it's either she's being the DJ or whatever, yelling at the
DJ for your dance parties.
I love it. Yelling at the machine to turn on whatever song she wants. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we're listening to Latin words right now. Like, we can't have music.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, it's just a mess. Every day is a mess. This is not glorious work.
No. It's not like the quiet. I'm sorry if you need quiet concentration.
No,
because
you're not going to get that here. No. Unless you are in the bathroom, but you might not even get it there.
No, probably not.
Honestly, I was like, I need a moment in the bathroom tonight. I just need like a moment. So I go into my bathroom, and I kid you not, like 4 kids. And then my husband, I was like, did you not get the message? I need like a minute right now.
Doesn't matter. But Dad always gets his quiet moments.
Yes.
Not Mom though.
Yes. This is so true. I don't even want to go into this, but I'm like, yes, this is so true.
I know.
How does that happen?
I don't know.
Josh is like, are you keeping track? I'm like, yeah, I am. Because how does this happen?
Yes. Nathan will frequently say, like, when Nathan's home and the kids still come to me to ask for things. I mean, we can be sitting at the table eating dinner, and there's another totally capable adult there.
Right there.
But no one asks Nathan for anything. They're all like, I could have all 4 of them all at once asking me for something, you know? And Nathan is like...
Well, it's like what I was telling you earlier, you're like juggling with everything.
Yes. And Nathan will say like, hello, there's another parent here that can help, you know? I don't know.
That's
they
awesome.
just like...
Did you see the meme where the mom is in, a person is in a head to toe cast, and it's like, and they still asked me for dinner, and I'm like, that's it, people, that's
like the only thing mom can help him. I don't know. So yes,
I often direct them. I'm like, there's your father.
He's right here.
I'm making my latte, and I am not going to help you.
Or I'm going to the bathroom. He's right outside. I don't know. It must be because we're home all the time, so they're just used to asking.
They're like,
us
this is
for
her domain. She knows where everything is.
Mom wants all the questions. Yes,
but truly, the best part of it is that it's like, has anyone seen? I always say my big tape. Like if I have to mail something, where's my big tape? I need my big tape, and nobody knows where the big tape is. And I'm like, where's the big tape? Where's the big tape? I'm asking everyone, where's the big tape? And obviously, I find the big tape because nobody else is going to look for it.
No.
B, I'm the only one who knows where anything would, remotely or might be.
Yes.
And I'm like,
yes. I, just the other day, Riker, he's constantly leaving things and then asking me where they are.
I love it.
I gotta get it. But he was like, Mom, where's my, whatever he was looking for. And I was really frustrated at that moment. I was like, Riker, do you think that I play with your toys?
Because I do not.
What is it? I said, what is it with you guys asking me where your stuff is? I don't play with it. I don't know. But I was like, it's over there. But reality is, I do know. This is true. Why is that?
I don't know. We survey a room and we're like, people, like we literally should be working for the FBI. Like seriously.
Totally.
We would catch all of these people that they're looking for.
Yes, because you like just walk through a room and you're like, I know everything that's in that room now.
And I know he's sketching, she's sketching. But anyway, it's so true. It's so true. It's like, I don't know where your belt is.
but it's hanging up in your sister's closet.
I picked it up the other day. I hung it there so that in this moment, when you would ask me, I would be able to tell you.
Well, you don't know where your is because you didn't put it away properly.
Exactly. This is systems. So.
It is. But no one goes by them, so it fails. But that's okay. Systems is necessary.
So true.
When any amount of kids, systems are a great thing.
Yes.
And being able to.
One of the things I always wanted was like, okay, like with school uniforms, I started this thing where it just is like on my nerves. Like we never find any of that stuff when we needed it. And so I just cleared out in the hall closet a shelf that was like a community shelf. And I'm like, oh, here's the uniforms.
That's great.
Go find them.
Yes.
And it's just like, I just stock that. And so.
That's great. Find your size.
Find your size and run with it, people.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm not your size. I don't care.
Or I don't care. I was like, Teddy, what size shirt's that? And he's like, I don't know, 5'6", I think. Well, I think we're actually moving to 7, 8, but okay, wear that today.
Go ahead. Yes.
We'll wash it when we get it.
Yep.
It was so funny.
Yeah, that's great. I think one of the systems that I've recently gone to is I have stopped putting laundry baskets in everybody's room. We were talking about laundry earlier today, and it's like I said, oh, it's the bane of my existence. And it is. Everywhere. Because we were both saying that laundry is like something that you do the laundry and then it sits for a few days, and then it gets put all across our bedroom floor, and then we walk over it for a couple of days, and then at some point it gets folded and put in the drawers, but that's after it's been already washed for like a week.
Yeah. A month later.
Oh, laundry is so hard. But I recently I took all the laundry baskets out of everybody's room, including
because you were mad at them or what?
No, because I'm tired of A, not knowing how much laundry there is to actually do, and B, I'm tired of going and like hunting the laundry down, So our laundry room is up so all of our bedrooms are up on the second level, and that's where our laundry room is too. So I said, just put the laundry in the laundry room, like there's one, so now there's just
Yes.
one basket in a laundry room,
Yes.
and nobody can keep dirty laundry in their rooms anymore. Which,
So do they go around and pick it up?
no, so they just, every day, when they take off their clothes at the end of the day, they just go and put it in a laundry room. Which sounds so simple, but for all of us, when laundry can, in like 2.3 hours, you can go from having zero laundry to having like a whole washer full. I don't know how that happens, but I had gotten to a point where I would maybe think I was caught up in laundry, and then I would go grab everybody's laundry, which took time.
And then you're like,
oh my gosh, I have 5 loads I have to do. What? How did that happen? So then I'm like, oh, okay, well, I have these 5 loads. So I was just kind of tired of like, A, taking the time to go and grab everybody's laundry, which, yes, they can do that themselves, and sometimes they did. And also not knowing how much laundry I had. So now everybody just puts their laundry in the laundry room.
Yes.
And it just makes more sense. Yes. So now I use my laundry baskets in the back of my car to bring in groceries. So, like the grocery sacks, I just pop them in the laundry baskets, and then I can bring in every load. Anyway,
that's perfect. Yeah, and not do the cut off your arm circulation thing.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, which inevitably happens too, because I bring the laundry basket in, everything's backed out. If I adhered to my own system, so that'd be great.
That'd be great.
Okay, so my friend Katie was saying this too, that she implementing like daily habits, and the kids knowing what that is, kind of having a checklist, like in maybe your morning habits are make your bed, brush teeth, and clean your room, and whatever, and then having however many times of habits you need throughout the day, but having maybe evening ones, which are clean the playroom and organize the living room.
Yes.
Having those things where you're like, these are our daily habits, and they're going to become habits, and they're important. And so we're going to do these every day. Everybody knows. We do
10-minute cleanup.
Yes.
And it's like, this living room, this space, Mom needs clarity.
Yes.
So pick it up.
Yeah, because I cannot. If things are an absolute wreck, I cannot move forward. Yes. So I think having some of those known times where we're all pitching in, or we're all keeping up with the craziness of the house and making sure that it gets some semblance of organized at times is pivotal.
Yes.
Too, especially when you're in your house all the time.
My gosh!
When you're doing the stay-at-home mom thing, and
my gosh, yes.
You're in your house, and that's great. But you're also like your house is
using
also getting ruined.
It's not a library.
Oh no!
It's not a museum. It is a home.
It is being, like when I worked outside the home, I would take Jackson to daycare, and the house stayed the way it was left. And then we came home, and we had a couple hours, and then everybody went to bed.
Yes.
But now that I stay home, it's like, oh, we have 12 hours where it's being used hard, and it's being...
Yes.
It's crazy. It's like every day. Okay. So having those times where the kids know, like, they're personal responsibility things for myself, like brushing my teeth and all that I need to take care of. But then there's other things around the house that I need to take care of too. And there's at least some times of the day where things are getting
100%. I used to say 1,000, and Josh said there's no such thing. So now I have to say
you have to say 100%.
Yes. But literally, that revelation came to me. And I don't know why I would get so down on myself, like, because my house was a disaster,
But there's real life
happening.
There
are 6
yes.
children moving stuff like ants.
Yes.
From one room to another room, from this room to that room. And there's just piles. I was telling Andrea, it's creepy crap.
Creepy crap.
It's everywhere.
Yes.
And it's like, why is there a Barbie shoe,
it just
a hair tie, and a nail polish? What is this situation?
There's no reason for it. It just is.
No. My favorite, like I was telling you, is when it's like a leg to some figure, and then it's like a Barbie head, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
These aren't toys we can actually play with.
No one's using them. Why are they even here? Why has somebody not thrown this away yet? I ask that all the time. Why do we still have this? They're little hoarders.
Still have this? Yes.
They are.
And I love how each kid has their own level of like.
Hoarding.
I shouldn't laugh because it's like, oh, you're really nostalgic. Okay, you're the nostalgic child. We have one that will come to us like sad about growing up.
Oh,
and we're like
really
torn up about it because it's
precious. Bless that. That's great that they like
are aware.
Yes.
Okay, I have a funny story about that. Ella came in to our room one day and she's just weepy. And Josh was like, "What's wrong?" She's like, "I'm just really sad. I'm sad I'm not little anymore."
Oh my gosh.
And it was like touching. Like, oh. And then she left and he looked at me and he was like, "What was that?"
Yeah.
And I said, "Welcome."
Welcome to my life.
My two oldest daughter.
Oh.
Like, welcome to being a girl.
Yes.
Like, and having these emotions that you might not understand where they come from.
Yes.
But suddenly she realized, like, growing up is a little bit sad, a little bit fun, and a little bit adventurous, but a little bit sad because she's our kid that wants to see when she was little and all these pictures, and it's just precious.
Yes.
But, man, it is like...
I know those emotions can just...
That room is kind of hard to clean. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yes.
what is this wrapper? Well, I got that when I was walking down, and I ate this sucker. And I'm like, oh, you remember all this?
You remember the story. That's good enough.
So
You
right.
have the memories. You don't need the thing to remind you of the memories.
Exactly.
You already have the memories.
Exactly. Okay, and then one last thing.
Yeah.
Something popped in my head about tips and tricks is we were talking about this. It's like, you do also need to come to a point and see, like, do I need outside help? Because it's okay to recognize and say, I can't do this. You know, I need help. Or, like, my mom will stop by and, like, fold a load of laundry, and it's a lifesaver.
It is.
It just is, you know? Or it's like, Mom, I'll feed you dinner. You want to hang around? Yeah, I'll fold some laundry while I do it. And I'm like, oh,
Yes,
thank you.
please do.
And then, you know, when the sitter's there, I ask her for extra hands. And, you know, I'm not ashamed to say I've had outside help cleaning my house because I cannot do it all. I just can't. And so I think there is a point where we do have to be honest with ourselves. And it does get to a point where when Josh comes home from work, I don't want to have these expectations of like, okay, great, now we're all going to clean and everything's going to be magically wonderful again. He's like, I want to come home, I want to have dinner, I want to hang out with my family. I don't want you barking orders right now. And I'm like, but I thought we would clean.
It's a really great point though, to like accept help.
Yeah.
Ask for help.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know, and maybe pay for help too, if you can afford it.
If you can.
Cut your grocery.
Yeah.
I was just saying,
Yes.
I think I'm going to find some way to cut back on groceries to be able to afford to like pay somebody to come in and fold my laundry and put it away.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I am all about like just realizing and being honest. Like, you need help.
Yeah, and as kids get older, of course, they can be more helpful.
Yes.
But when they're not, and then there's so many of them that are not.
Yes.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
And
I always say, is that mom clean? Like, they know the standard that I expect when I walk in, and they're like, well, it's a few part, you know, it's down a few parts.
Oh my gosh, yes. I have to continually remind myself that this is a season. Like, having littles is so much in every category. It's a lot, and I have to remind myself a lot of times, like, it's a season and I want to do my best to enjoy that season because it's crazy and it can be hard to enjoy that.
Absolutely.
But it's not going to be like, I'm not going to feel this overwhelmed all the time.
All the time.
So yeah, even with a big family, because I can see that with our two older ones, I can see
the light.
Yes. Yep. I can see what's on the horizon. You know, they have different issues or different, you know, things that are tougher than the littles, but it's not so all encompassing neediness like with little kids. So I can sort of see on the horizon, like it's not going to be like this all the time. So reminding myself, there will be change. It won't always be like this is good too. Yeah. There's a tip for you. But yeah, accepting help, asking for help. I've tried to get better about, you know, calling my mom and being like, hey, can you just give me like in the next 2 weeks, can you take the kids for like 3 hours so I can have some time to run errands by myself or get some things done at the house by myself or whatever.
Yes. Yeah. There's nothing like harder than unloading children at a store.
Oh,
it's just so much in and out and in and buckles, and I'm like,
and then you get in the store, and that's a lot in and of itself. Yes.
So just the glorious, like, go to the store and not have to touch a buckle.
Yes, and I just have to be responsible for my own self.
Yes. It almost feels like, where are my people? It is amazing when I do get that. If I get really good time by myself or really refreshing time by myself, it is amazing how I then long for that chaos again. Or that like you can feel when one of your children like spends the night somewhere or goes to see grandma or whatever. It's like, oh my gosh,
they're like missing a piece of
they're
yourself.
gone. Yes. Yeah, like I feel it.
Yes.
It's so bizarre how that works, but then it's like I do long for that.
It's strange.
When I am away.
It's almost like FOMO.
I know.
You know, like
what are they doing?
I feel like I want that time away, but then I have the time away, and I'm like, oh,
I miss them.
I miss them. This would be more fun. So Nathan and I will go on some trips sometimes, just the two of us, and we love it, and we wouldn't change that, right? But oftentimes when we're going on, like, there's certain parts of what we're doing that I'm like, well, this would be more fun if our kids were with us. Not the whole thing, but some parts of it I'm like, well, this would be definitely more fun if the kids were here with us.
So it just popped into my head, like, do the hard things too.
Yeah.
That's another tip. Because I think sometimes you think, I can't leave the house, or I can't do this, or whatever, and it's like, I'm pretty shocked at some of the things we've done, like with 5 and then 6 kids. But you just do it.
Yeah.
You know, and you just know it's going to be crazy, but it's going to be so good. We took the kids on a trip. You saying that made me think, like, we could have easily said, like, we're not going to do anything as a family this crazy until the youngest is old enough to walk or whatever.
Nope.
And it's like, you just miss out on so much life and experience if that's your philosophy. And so literally we loaded up on a plane and we flew to California and rented
rented one of the big vans.
One of the big ones. I'm not ready to trade my car in for one yet, but
yeah, you will fit. So it's
good. We were fine right now. So I just, like, Josh was so funny. He says, I can't believe, but it's like one of his favorite, most cherished memories is that we did that and we had this amazing experience, like truly amazing. And so I think do the hard things.
It's worth it.
You know, even if you got to take babies and you're wearing a baby on a trail, like do it. You know,
I so agree. We went to Florida in October and we took all 4 kids, and we had some airport moments that were like,
oh my gosh, well, with the masks, I can't imagine.
Yes, that was unfortunate, but we made it, you know, and it was fine, and it was by far the best trip we've had as a family.
Yes.
Regardless of how many kids we've had at the time, that was for sure the best trip we've had, and it was worth it to do the hard things. I think that's a great way to look at it.
Yeah, I just refuse to not live. I mean, especially pre-COVID more, obviously, but like, we're going to do that. We're going to go. Like, brother has a baseball game. We're loading up, you know, and it's like, we're going. And it's chaos.
It is chaos.
And I'm at the playground the whole game.
Yes. Or
there's 4 kids in the car. It's 100 degrees outside and they're watching a movie.
Yep.
And I'm out watching a game, you know, and it's like, okay, we're just going to do this.
Right.
So I think you have to have the mindset of like, I have this many children, this is my life, and we're going to live.
Yeah, we're not going to put things on pause, really.
Yeah.
Because of
and one of the greatest books I read on parenting and your baby and raising them and was in the introduction, they said, it's like you and your husband join forces. You are now married, and it's not like a glorification way, but it's like, it's about you and your marriage, and your children are along for this ride.
Yeah.
And it's not their life and we're along for it. It's like, no, we're the parents. Like it or not, we're the captains.
Right. And you're following you're coming along on my ship and my journey.
Yes. And that's how I want it to be. I want you to join in with us. Yeah. But, you know, I'm not going to make this like a child-centered family.
That's exactly what I was just going to say. We can't have a kid-centric home, regardless of how many kids we have.
Yes. It is very much like, okay, mom and dad set the pace and we're going to follow along. So
that's so great.
Yeah. So do the hard things. That's like my number one. Do the hard things. Because there's things we've done. It's like, what were we
the rewards are great. Yeah,
it's great.
Yeah.
It's great. So
cool.
yeah.
Well, anything else?
I don't know. I think that's it. I
No.
mean, not it. It's
Oh, I had one more question. How do you encourage sibling relationships?
Oh yeah. Okay, so Josh and I were talking about this because he said, I don't know what I would answer to that. And I said, honestly, I don't have like an answer, like well, we do X, Y,
Sure.
Z. Because honestly, when I think about it, I want it to be organic.
Mm-hmm.
And I love watching their relationships blossom and grow.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like Teddy just had a little play date with a buddy, and then when he came home, it was like he and Ella were just like locked because they missed each other.
Yes.
And you see that little relationship grow and blossom, and you're like, that's so precious. And then you see Ella come swooping in, I'm making dinner, whatever, and Winnie's crying right here, and Ella just scoops her up. And it's like, those are the things that are happening, all around me. And I love that.
I think being a stay-at-home mom helps those relationships because they're around each other so often, but also doing homeschooling thing helps out too because rather than them being in their own classrooms 5 days a week and then they're just kind of together the evenings and the weekends, our kids are around each other all the time.
Like you said, these are your people.
Yes, so they have to be they have to be friends with each other because otherwise it's like all day, every day that they're with enemies, I guess. So they figure it out, and thankfully, they don't get along all the time for sure.
Right.
But thankfully, their disagreements are short, and they forgive quickly, and
that's so good.
they learn to forgive well, and they are each other's best friends because they're around each other all the time. Yeah. So
and
Ryan,
especially now.
Yes, right. Because of COVID, there's not a lot going on anyway. Yeah. Just today. So Jackson was at school today. So if you are new to this channel, our kids go to school 2 days a week, and then we homeschool the rest of the time. So that's the collaborative school that we go to. So Jackson, this was a school day for Jackson. He's at school, and Ryan was crying tonight at dinner because, and earlier in the day she was telling me, I really wish Jackson wasn't at school because I just wish he was here to play. And she and Riker were playing all day, and they love playing, but I think they just feel that missing person, when he's gone. And so she was crying at dinner because Jackson had come home from school and they had played for an hour and then we had dinner, and she was crying because she was like, I didn't get enough time to play with Jackson and I missed him all day long, and now I only had a little bit of time and now it's dinner and
so precious.
kind of like nearing the end of the day, and I'm like, oh, Lord, like that's exactly what I thought. Lord, this is so precious. Yeah. That they have this, but it has been same here, like pretty much organic, and they all kind of look out for each other. Yeah. But it helps that they are just around each other all the time, and they have to be.
I love the crazy things they come up with. I mean, what are you doing now? They got into Beyblades. Those things you like pull the thing and then it twists really fast. In the stadium, and then they like fight each other. Well, they found a way to make them out of Legos, and so then it got everyone in it.
Yes.
Like Maggie was in it, and Ella, and it was like this big old tournament, and it was so cute.
Oh, fun.
And I was like, that is what these days are for.
Yes.
Like these moments right here that a 4-year-old is interacting with a 9-year-old brother. And that's her big brother. And I just love those moments. And honestly, they really are not forced. Like they're just.
Right. They just happen.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I love that.
Yep.
And they find these shared things, they have this camaraderie. And I love that about their relationships too.
Yeah, they're kind of just a team.
Yeah.
Of built-in friends.
Yes, these are your people.
Right. Yeah.
Whether you like it or not.
Yep.
I mean, and we are very much like anti, like having your own room. Like you're gonna share a room because honestly, that's a life skill.
It is a life skill. I mean, they're bound to share a room with other people at some point anyway.
At some point, like a roommate or like just sharing a living space, like how to be, aware of other people.
That's good.
I mean, I give them these little talks like, okay, the weird kids are going to be known for being aware of people and their needs.
For sure. And not being just self-focused all the time.
I know.
Are they all hard sleepers then?
Very much so.
Good.
I think like Winnie right now is the only one. The 1-year-old is really the only one who, but she's just in that weird phase of like teething and different things that kind of pull her out. But most everyone is pretty deep when it comes to sleeping. But yeah, the boys share. There's bunk beds, and then a crib and a bed, and so they share. And you know, Josh is like, I don't want a house where they're all gonna have their own bedroom. Like this is we were talking to a designer and we were like, listen, we want space where we're all together and on top of each other. We don't want big spaces. We want spaces that are like meant for being close.
Yes.
And that's how we feel about our family.
Yeah, we have the same thing. Like we don't want our kids just going up and being in their rooms forever and we're all separated. You know, we require a lot of family time. We require our kids to just kind of be in the mix a lot of times. We do let them go off and do their own things sometimes, but like by themselves. But most of the time they want to be in what we're doing. So we've our kids currently have their own rooms that will be coming to an end for some of them soon. But but we just don't keep like their toys in their rooms. Yeah. You know, each has like one toy in the room and that's it. And they kind of just get bored being by themselves if they're in the room for very long. So thank goodness.
It's like a good place to go get a little recharge. They do. Like away from everyone.
But they don't do it. They don't seem to want it for very long too often. And then we just want a family that
great.
Has to be together because there's nowhere to go to do anything else except with all of us. Except in the mix. Yeah.
You have no choice.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. Well, thanks so much for spending the time and talking to me. And
I hope it was meaningful.
It was great. I appreciate it.
We're very laid back. I mean, it's a very chaotic home, but then you have some structure.
Yes.
The laid backness.
Right. Know? Yeah, and I'm sure I could interview 5 other people and they'd all say different things. I think we parent a lot the same way. But then there's some women who are so great with like organization and cleanliness and like being super regimented, and that's great. But you do find that the more kids you have, the less control you have. And so you've got to let go of some of that. As you have more kids, you just start to realize like you just have to let go of some of that.
I literally would end with this. I have a hilarious sign in our living room that says like, great moms have messy kitchens.
Yes.
Sticky like hands.
Yes.
And meaning the kids have sticky hands and the laundry is still
unfinished.
And Josh will go, you're not listening to your sign. If I get like, we're gonna clean. He's
I know. We did at some point today. We had that.
He's like, look at the sign. It says messy kitchens. And I'm like, gosh dang it.
That's funny. That's a great sign. Yes. There is some balance needed.
Oh, yes.
In like
humor.
Yes.
Lots of humor.
Yes.
We need to have it because
for sure.
Honestly, it brings me back to earth. Like when the issue is like,
and kids carrying a lot of humor.
Yes. And when I get like worked up about something ridiculous, Josh is always like, is this an issue like that we really need to be expending energy on? I'm like, well, maybe.
Oh, that's a good,
let's just have some humor about it and then come back down to earth and it's like,
okay. Amen to that. Cool. Well, thanks so much.
Yeah, it was fun.
Here.
Of course, it was really fun to get out of my house.
Yeah. All right. So thank you so much, Sarah, for being on. I so appreciate the things that you have said and your honesty, a lot of your wisdom, and then just some tricks and hacks and things like that you've learned along the way. So thank you very much for coming on. I wanted to give a few other things. So I also talked to my friend Katie, who's a mom of 4, and she's in Chicago, so she couldn't be here. But I've been friends with her for a long time, and I thought it'd be fun to reach out to her and find out if she had anything she wanted to offer too. And she gave me a few ideas, and some of those things that she said were to help with like families, especially big families, is getting the bigger kids involved with stuff.
Sure.
Like helping to make bottles and reading books.
Take ownership.
And it helps to teach a lot of responsibility.
It's great.
So giving the older kids chores and responsibilities helps to teach them. She said actually one of her friends, They have daily habits, which we have started implementing in our house too, like that word habit, where in the morning they are responsible for certain things, getting dressed, making their bed, whatever. And then they also, in her friend's house, they have to clean the house to like guest worthy in the morning, so that they start with like a clean slate, and that's the terminology she uses, is like, we have to get this house in guest worthy order. so I think that's a great thing to do. One of the things that Sarah and I talked about that my friend Katie said is, let people help you and ask for help when you need it. And that's for anybody along the way, whether you're a parent of 1 or 10.
Sure.
Asking for help and accepting help is really knocking down your pride, maybe, but it's a great thing when you need help and people are willing to give it and you're just willing to accept it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then this is something too, making individual time with the kids. So whether that's 1-on-1 or 2-on-1, mom and dad with the kid, having that individual time with them for them to really be them without other siblings around. We try really hard to do that in our home too, just so that they don't get lost in the crowd and lost in the chaos that happens.
Yeah.
So individual time for us happens. We would love to take them out on a date, to be able to have that time, but that's just not reality for us. So for us, we do it as kind of when the kids, we take one a week basically. So one time a week when the kids go to bed, we keep one up and we just spend a lot of intentional time with them doing whatever they're wanting to do at the time. So that's been important for us. Mm-hmm. So those are some of the things that she said too, that I thought were really great.
Yeah,
and I loved.
It's good.
I loved her insight on those things too.
It's great.
Anything
really
anything massive you learn along the way?
Nathan, no, it's great. Family? No, I mean, no. There's tons of stuff for fathering in big families, but for the sake of not making this a 2.5 hour episode, well, maybe we'll circle back to that at a later time.
So we'd love to know any questions that you have for big families, or any advice or tricks or thoughts you have along the way.
Totally. It's great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Guys, Sarah, thank you so much for helping out. Kate, thanks for throwing your suggestions our way. I hope you guys found something interesting in this article. It's good sometimes to break away and get somebody different in here to share their thoughts and experiences, and so I hope you guys enjoyed that as well.
Yeah. And remember, God is for your family.
Have a great weekend.
Hey, thanks for joining us on Marriage by Design. If you were impacted by this video, like it by hitting the thumbs up below. Also, don't forget to subscribe, and once you subscribe, hit the bell icon so you can be notified when new episodes release.
Excellent. Also, one of the huge pillars of our show is interactivity between us and you. So we would love you to comment down in the comments below if you have thoughts about this video, or if you have questions or other things you'd like to see considered in the future. In addition, if you'd like, you can email us. That's marriagebydesignpodcast@gmail.com. We're also on Instagram @marriagebydesignpodcast, or you can find us on Facebook by searching Marriage by Design Podcast. Finally, if you want to, you can tweet at us. We do have a Twitter account that is @MarriageXDesign. Thanks, and have a great day.